Drill rapper MizOrMac has been jailed for 9 years on Thursday, June the 9th, after pointing a gun at a police officer in Woolwich in November 2020. Known by his stage name MizOrMac, he's racked up millions of views across all the platforms like YouTube and Spotify, is what was said on the article, and it also referenced him being part of Harlem Spartans. It said on November 3rd, 2020, at around 3 AM, the suspects went to a recording studio in Woolwich Church Street and fired 3 shots at a group, injuring a woman and a man. The offenders left in a stolen car. A dog unit found the vehicle, which failed to stop and crashed into the parked car. 5 men ran off, leaving behind 2 magazines containing live ammunition, 3 large Rambo knives and a machete. While one of the police officers was chasing MizOrMac, it was said that he turned and pointed a 9mm semi-automatic handgun at him and his police dog. The officer kept up the chase, and Khan was arrested shortly after by firearm officers in a nearby estate.
Stop it, coach!
PC Elwood said, "When the gun was pointed directly at my face, my instant reaction was to turn away in fear. I thought I was about to be killed. However, I continued to chase after them as they are dangerous individuals who needed removing from the streets. Had I not continued to chase after them, they would have got away and still had access to a deadly firearm. The presence of 2 police dogs during this incident was instrumental. One of the dogs found a discarded firearm and another played a significant role in capturing one of the suspects. I joined the police so I could stop violent and dangerous criminals who pose a risk to society from causing harm to communities, and this case is a classic example of that." When police officers make statements like this in court and it gets read out, it hits the hardest. That's why we've seen such a hefty sentence here. 10 years almost is what he's got. A whole decade of time. We're gonna miss MizOrMac. What a silly situation to get in for someone so talented. All 4 men in this case were actually acquitted of the attempted murder charge of the man and the woman, and the 5th man was never found, but attempts to trace him continue. A detective constable called Andy Brackley, who works in the Trident team investigating non-fatal shootings, said the actions of these 4 men that night was extremely reckless, and we don't believe the 2 victims shot that night were the intended targets, and it's only down to sheer luck that their injuries were not fatal. Although both have recovered, they're still suffering long-term health implications caused by their injuries. Khan, 23, known as MizOrMac of Tavy Close, who pointed the gun at the police officer, was convicted of possession of a prohibited firearm and additionally convicted of possession of a firearm with intent to commit an indictable offence, and he was sentenced to 9 years imprisonment. Brown, 22, was convicted of possession of prohibited firearm and sentenced to 7 years and 6 months imprisonment. Joshua, 21, was convicted of possession of prohibited firearm and further possession of a prohibited firearm relating to a 2019 matter whereby a revolver was recovered in an electrical cupboard which contained a DNA sample, and he was sentenced to 8 years and 6 months imprisonment. Newman, 23, of Oak Square, was convicted of possession of a prohibited firearm and sentenced to 7 years and 6 months imprisonment. It's a big shame, guys, to the drill scene in general. MizOrMac was picking up big numbers. Return on the Mac is on 6.5 million views now in just 2 years. If this guy wasn't going through all these court cases and stuff, it's crazy to think where he could have been right now in this rap game. He has a really large following for someone whose portfolio is not that big. He's put out the track, of course, Kennington Where It Started, on 18 million views. He has another song called Call Me Spartan with various members on that, also 10 million views. Lowski's song, he has DJ Khaled one on 8.6 million views. He recently brought out another one with him called On Me, which has got almost 6 million. It's always frustrating to see people blow opportunities like this who are so talented and consistent in what they do. This case has been a crazy one because at first he got arrested for something and it wasn't him. He got acquitted of them charges, and his lawyers even said that the court criticised the police handling of the evidence in the case, and the trial, which lasted 5 weeks, come to the conclusion that he was not guilty, and then he gets recalled and then he gets pulled up on this charge of pointing a gun at a police officer, and obviously that's going to carry a hefty sentence. MizOrMac was previously sentenced to 6 years in prison on February 9th 2018 after being convicted of possession of a firearm and offensive weapon in a public place. In December 2020, shortly after his release, things were looking good. He was fresh home and ready to put out some new music and going on Instagram Live shortly after.
Said, but Jojo said play it. But Jojo's gonna hear it though tonight at 10.
Man said, you're horrible.
Blanks, you're fucking. I can't even chat to you, bro. You're just trying to get me nicked. The guy, you just want me back. Don't get me in jail, fam. I can't talk to no one called Blanco. Nothing to do with that. I can someone put Miz in Moscow. They're mocking it. They're mocking it. Don't kill me.
But in December 2020, shortly after his release, he announced that he had been recalled to prison while under investigation for new charges. We all thought he completely got off of it when he got acquitted of the attempted murder charge, but now they have got him on this and he will spend a lot of time behind bars. Of course, he's already done some remand time in this situation, but still a long time before we'll be seeing MizOrMac. Not sure how much of his sentence he will even serve, depends on his behaviour inside, but it's going to be a long time before we hear music from him. Make sure you guys all drop a like down below and subscribe with the notification bell. See you in the next one. Peace out.